Imagine your mind as a garden, rich and fertile, waiting for your care. Every thought you plant has the power to grow. Some bloom into courage, gratitude, and wisdom, while others sprout fear, doubt, and despair. The beauty of your garden is not in what happens outside, but in what you choose to nurture within. Today, I ask you to tend your own inner soil, to pull the weeds of negativity, and to plant seeds of strength and resilience. For when you nourish your mind with intention, it becomes a sanctuary, a place where no storm can steal your peace, and no shadow can dim your light. Your mind is a garden, vast and waiting, a sacred plot of earth that belongs only to you. Every thought you nurture, every word you whisper to yourself is a seed dropped into this soil. Some seeds carry the power of courage, of hope, of gratitude, and they grow into towering trees that shelter you in storms. Others carry fear, doubt, and regret, and if left untended, they twist and tangle, choking the life from the garden around them. The choice of what to plant and what to water is yours. And in that choice lies your first act of strength. To tend your garden is not a task of a single day, but a devotion that calls for patience. The weeds of negativity are persistent, sly, and rooted deep. They may grow quietly, whispering that you are not enough, that your dreams are too bold, that your heart is too fragile. You must walk through your own garden each morning and each night, with the clarity of a gardener and the courage of a warrior, pulling out what does not serve you and making room for what does. Every thought of gratitude, every moment of self-kindness, every act of courage is a gentle rain that nourishes the seeds of resilience. There will be storms, there will be winds that bend your trees and rains that batter your blooms. Do not fear them. The storms do not destroy the garden unless you allow them to. In fact, they teach you where your roots are strong and where your soil is fertile. They remind you that growth often comes from struggle and that beauty is forged in the sunlight that follows the darkest clouds. Your garden is alive and it responds to your care with generosity. The more you nurture it, the more it rewards you with peace, clarity, and strength. It is easy to forget that your mind is a garden when the world outside is loud with chaos, with criticism, with voices telling you who you should be. Yet the true strength of your mind comes not from silencing the outside world, but from choosing what you allow inside. Feed it with wisdom, with stories that inspire, with music that stirs the soul. Let your inner dialogue be a song of possibility, not a litany of limitation. Speak to yourself with the tenderness and encouragement you would offer to someone you love deeply, for in that speech lies the nourishment that makes your garden thrive. And so, I urge you to plant with intention. Sow seeds of courage when fear knocks at your door. Water seeds of hope when despair whispers that you cannot go on. Pull the weeds of regret and self-doubt from the soil of your thoughts, and make space for the blossoms of resilience, gratitude, and joy. Watch carefully, tend faithfully, and remember that the garden of your mind is yours alone. Its strength is not measured by what grows overnight, but by the care you give, the choices you make, and the courage you show every single day. Life's storms come to each of us, uninvited and relentless, and yet they are not punishments but lessons disguised in thunder and rain. They sweep through our days, bending our plans, testing our patience, and shaking the foundations of what we thought was steady. At first they may frighten us. We may wish them away, wish for the sun to return, wish for calm and comfort. But the truth is, the storms are not our enemies. They are the hands that shape us, the fires that forge our resilience, the winds that carry us into strength we did not know we possessed. To embrace the storms is to recognize that every difficulty, every challenge, every heartbreak carries within it a seed of growth, waiting for our courage to water it. When the winds howl and the skies darken, it is easy to feel small, to doubt your worth, to believe that the world is too heavy for your shoulders. But storms are not proof of weakness. They are proof that life is alive and that you are alive to meet it. They push you to the edge of your fears so that you may discover the depth of your courage. They shake loose the illusions that keep you stagnant and strip away the things you do not need. In the fury of the storm, clarity emerges. You begin to see which parts of yourself are steadfast, which relationships are true, and which dreams are worth holding on to, even as the rain lashes against your resolve. Embracing the storms does not mean welcoming suffering with open arms, but it does mean walking into them with awareness and with faith in your own resilience. It means learning to bend rather than break, to sway with the gusts without losing the rhythm of your heart. Every challenge becomes a teacher, every hardship a mirror showing the strength that already lives within you. And when the storm passes, as it always does, you are not the same person who trembled at its first gust. You are taller, steadier, and more certain of your capacity to endure, to rise, and to flourish despite the tempest. There will be moments when the rain seems endless, when lightning splits the sky and shadows stretch long and cruel. In those moments, remember that storms are temporary, but the wisdom they leave behind is permanent. Hold on to patience, hold on to hope, hold on to the quiet certainty that you will emerge from this trial more resilient than before. Each storm is an invitation to step into your power, to practice courage, and to cultivate a mind that is unshaken by circumstance. The soul that learns to dance in the rain discovers a joy that is untouchable, a strength that no wind can scatter, and a peace that even the fiercest storm cannot steal. And so, when the next storm comes, do not cower or run. Stand firmly in the soil of your being, open your heart to the lessons, and embrace the wildness of the sky. For in the storms, you are being sculpted into the person you were always meant to be, unyielding, wise, and gloriously strong. There is a quiet, unshakable power that lives within you, a power that cannot be touched by circumstance, a power that is yours the moment you claim it. That power is choice. Life will not always bend to your wishes. Storms will rage, people will disappoint, and doors will close without warning. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can always control what happens inside you. You can choose your thoughts, your words, your attitude, and your response. That is the sovereignty of the human spirit, the ability to stand unbowed, even when the world leans heavily against you. Choice is freedom, and freedom is the heartbeat of strength. Every day, you are faced with countless crossroads, some obvious and some hidden in the quiet moments of reflection. You can respond with anger or with patience, with fear or with courage, with resentment or with understanding. It is in these moments, seemingly small and invisible, that your mental strength is forged. To choose wisely is not to deny your feelings or to pretend the world is gentle. It is to rise above the automatic pull of reaction and to meet life with intention. When you pause and choose your path, you step out of the role of victim and step into the role of creator. Your choices carve the shape of your inner world, and in that world, you are always free. The power of choice is not in grand gestures alone, but in the small, deliberate decisions that shape your day. Choosing gratitude when life feels unfair, choosing kindness when anger rises, choosing hope when despair whispers. These are the acts that build mental fortitude. They are the bricks of resilience, laid one by one, until you have constructed a mind that cannot be shaken by circumstance, a soul that refuses to be imprisoned by fear. Each choice is a declaration that you are the master of your inner world, and that no external force can dictate your peace. Even when life seems chaotic, even when the noise of the world threatens to overwhelm, remember that your response is always yours. You may not stop the rain, but you can dance in it. You may not silence the storms of others, but you can calm the storm within. Choice is the bridge between suffering and strength, the space where pain transforms into wisdom, and where challenge becomes opportunity. By exercising this power, you claim not only your present, but the promise of the person you are becoming. So, when the next trial comes, do not surrender to habit, fear, or anger. Pause, breathe, feel the weight of your freedom, the quiet, immense strength that comes from knowing that how you meet the world is always in your hands. In every response, every decision, every thought you nurture, you declare who you are and who you are choosing to become. Choice is power, and power is yours to wield with courage, with love, and with unwavering faith in the resilience of your own spirit. There is a voice inside you that speaks without pause, a voice that judges, doubts, and whispers of your unworthiness. It is not always loud, but it is persistent, like a shadow that follows you through every corridor of your mind. It tells you that your dreams are too big, that your heart is too fragile, that you will stumble and fail. Yet this voice, for all its power, is not truth. It is fear masquerading as wisdom, a thief that steals your courage and dims the light you carry. To grow mentally strong, you must learn to meet this voice not with anger, but with understanding, and then, with gentle but unwavering resolve, you must silence it. Silencing the inner critic does not mean pretending it does not exist. It means acknowledging its presence, hearing the fear it speaks, and choosing not to obey it. It means stepping into your own power and reminding yourself of the strength you have shown in the past, the challenges you have overcome, the moments when you rose despite doubt. You are not the voice that seeks to diminish you. You are the mind that decides whether its words will take root or wither. Each time you respond to your critic with compassion and courage, you teach it that it no longer controls the garden of your thoughts. The inner critic often thrives in silence, in the quiet spaces where you allow it to whisper unchecked. It grows when you compare yourself to others, when you dwell on mistakes, when you replay past failures. But when you fill those spaces with affirmations of your worth, reflections on your progress, and gratitude for the small victories, the critic loses its ground. Speak to yourself with kindness. Speak to yourself as you would speak to a child learning to walk, fragile yet full of promise. Speak to yourself with love, patience, and unwavering belief in your ability to rise. In that language, the seeds of resilience take root, and the weeds of self-doubt cannot thrive. Silencing this voice is not a one-time act. It is a practice, a daily ceremony of courage. Each morning you can remind yourself that fear does not define you, that mistakes are not chains but lessons, that you are deserving of your own respect and care. Each night you can look back and honor the moments you chose faith over fear, action over hesitation, hope over despair. In doing so, you create a mind that no criticism, whether external or internal, can easily shatter. You create a sanctuary of strength, a place where your inner wisdom can speak clearly, free from the clutter of judgment. When the inner critic rises, do not shrink, do not retreat. Face it with the quiet authority of one who knows the truth of their own spirit. Let it speak, and then let your courage respond. Let your confidence, your love for yourself, and your clarity of purpose drown out the whispers of doubt. For every time you silence that voice, you step closer to the person you are meant to be, a mind unbroken, a heart unshaken, a spirit radiant and unstoppable. There is a quiet power in the word no, a strength that does not shout or demand, but simply stands firm like a tree rooted deep in the earth. So often we fear saying no, believing that it will disappoint others, close doors, or make us appear weak. But the truth is, saying no is not cruelty, it is courage. It is the act of protecting your peace, of honoring your own heart, and of carving out space for what truly matters. To become mentally strong, you must recognize that your energy is sacred, and that every yes you give without intention is a small surrender of your own strength. Saying no is an act of love, first and foremost for yourself. When you say yes to demands that drain you, to people who take without giving, to situations that weigh heavy on your spirit, you teach the world that your boundaries are negotiable. But when you speak the word no with calm certainty, you draw a line in the sand. You declare that your time, your energy, and your emotions are yours to protect. In that act there is freedom. Freedom to choose where your efforts go. Freedom to nurture your soul. and freedom to rise without being pulled into battles that are not yours to fight. The courage to say no often comes after years of saying yes out of habit, fear, or the desire to please. It comes with the understanding that your presence is not required in every conversation, every gathering, every drama. It comes from knowing that boundaries are not walls of separation, but fences that protect the garden of your mind. Every no spoken with intention is a seed planted in the soil of self-respect, and over time, those seeds grow into an unshakable foundation of mental strength. You will find that the world does not crumble when you refuse to bend to every demand. Instead, you stand taller, steadier, and more in alignment with the life you are meant to live. Learning to say no also teaches others how to treat you. It sets a standard that your time and energy are valuable, that your peace is non-negotiable, and that your spirit will not be sacrificed for convenience or obligation. The strength of no is gentle, but it is firm, like a river that shapes the rock not through force, but through persistence. It is a daily practice, a choice made over and over, in conversations, in decisions, in moments where fear tempts you to yield. And each time you choose yourself, each time you honor your own needs, you strengthen the muscle of your mind, the clarity of your heart, and the courage of your soul. So do not fear the word no, embrace it. Let it be your shield, your compass, and your song. Let it remind you that your life belongs to you first, that your peace is precious, and that your mental strength begins not in what you endure, but in what you choose not to accept. In the quiet power of no, you find the freedom to live fully, to love authentically, and to rise resilient and unshaken, no matter the storms that surround you. Strength is not born in the heat of a single moment, nor in the rush of inspiration that comes and goes like a fleeting wind. True mental power is cultivated quietly, patiently, day by day, in the small acts that seem ordinary but carry extraordinary weight. It is the discipline to rise even when your heart is heavy, to move forward even when the path is unclear, to take one more step when motivation has left the room. Consistency is the gentle rhythm of courage, the quiet drumbeat that shapes your mind into a fortress that cannot be shaken. Motivation is a spark, bright and alluring, but it is fleeting. It comes and goes, like the sun behind clouds, and if you rely on it alone, you will find yourself stumbling when it disappears. Consistency, however, is the river that flows steadily through the landscape of your life. It is in showing up, in doing the small things, in honoring your commitments to yourself, that your mind grows strong. Each day that you choose to act, even when inspiration falters, is a brick laid in the foundation of resilience. Every repeated effort, no matter how minor it seems, compounds into a power that carries you through the storms of doubt, fear, and fatigue. To live consistently is to show respect for the potential that lives within you. It is to recognize that greatness is rarely forged in a single blaze of glory, but in the steady, disciplined nurturing of your talents, your mind, and your heart. It is waking up each day and choosing to feed your soul with knowledge, your body with care, and your spirit with hope, whether you feel like it or not. It is in this unwavering commitment to your own growth that mental strength is born. The world may not notice your quiet work, but your soul feels it, and it builds within you a confidence that no external circumstance can undo. Consistency also teaches patience, another cornerstone of strength. You learn that results do not arrive on command, that mastery is not a gift but a journey, and that the most important victories are often invisible to the outside eye. By showing up daily, by doing the work even when it is tedious, you prove to yourself that you are capable, dependable, and steadfast. You learn to trust yourself, to honor your promises, and to hold your ground even when life tempts you to quit. The small, repeated efforts become your secret power, a quiet, unbreakable thread woven through every challenge, every setback, every fear. So embrace the rhythm of consistency. Let it guide your days, your choices, and your actions. Let it remind you that mental strength is not the product of rare bursts of passion, but of ordinary courage exercised daily. Each small act, each moment of discipline, each commitment kept, compounds into a mind that cannot be swayed, a spirit that cannot be broken, and a life that grows steadily, beautifully, and powerfully. In the gentle insistence of consistency, you discover your greatest strength, and you rise unshaken, prepared for whatever storms may come. There is profound power in noticing the small victories, in honoring the quiet moments that often go unseen. Life is made of these moments, the tiny steps forward that build the path to greatness. Too often, we wait for grand achievements, for applause, for recognition, and in doing so, we overlook the progress that is happening right before our eyes. Each decision to rise after a sleepless night, each act of patience, each choice to love when it is hard, each moment when you resisted fear. These are victories, and they matter. To celebrate them is to feed your soul, to strengthen your mind, and to remind yourself that growth is a journey, not a single leap. Every lesson learned, no matter how small, is a victory. When you stumble, when life throws you off balance, and you take a moment to reflect, to understand, to adjust, you are winning. It may not feel like triumph when you are in the middle of struggle, but every time you turn a mistake into insight, every time you transform frustration into patience, every time you confront a fear and refuse to let it control you, you are taking a step forward. Recognizing these moments honors your resilience, and in acknowledging them, you build the confidence to face the next challenge. Celebrating small wins also rewires your mind to notice growth instead of loss, progress instead of setbacks. It trains you to see that life is a series of steps, each meaningful, each contributing to your story. The small victories are the threads that weave the tapestry of your strength, the quiet proofs that you are capable of more than you often give yourself credit for. When you pause to honor them, you are not boasting, you are nurturing your spirit, reinforcing the belief that effort matters, and that every step, no matter how modest, moves you closer to the life you desire. In a world that rushes, that praises only the spectacular, celebrating small wins is a revolutionary act. It is an assertion that your journey is worthy, that your growth is real, and that you are not waiting for someone else to validate your progress. Every time you acknowledge a small victory, you reclaim your power, and you cultivate a mind that sees possibility rather than defeat. You teach yourself that perseverance has its own beauty, that progress is sacred, and that strength is built quietly, incrementally, in the choices you make each day. So let yourself notice these moments. Let yourself feel pride in the steps that were hard, joy in the lessons that were painful, and gratitude for the growth that came slowly. Each small win is a celebration of life itself, a reminder that you are capable, resilient, and moving forward even when the world tells you otherwise. In honoring these moments, you are creating a mind and a spirit that are strong beyond measure, a life that rises steadily, and a heart that knows its own worth. For in the small victories you find the power to rise again and again, and you learn that every step, every lesson, every quiet triumph is a celebration of the strength already within you. Falling is not the end. It is not a verdict on your worth, nor a measure of your potential. Falling is simply the earth reminding you that you are alive, that you are trying, that you are reaching for something beyond what you have ever known. The moments when you stumble, when life seems to push you into darkness, are not failures. They are invitations. Invitations to look inside yourself, to discover the courage that has been there all along, waiting quietly, patiently for you to call upon it. It is not the fall that defines your story, but the rising, the reclaiming of your strength, and the willingness to continue walking forward with your head held high. There is a sacredness in rising after a fall. It is the human spirit declaring that it will not be broken, that it will not be silenced, that it will not surrender to circumstance. Each time you rise, you teach yourself that resilience is not born in comfort, but in the struggle. You learn that courage is not the absence of fear, but the determination to act despite it. When you stand again after being knocked down, even if your hands are bruised and your heart feels heavy, you are proclaiming to the world and to yourself that your spirit cannot be conquered. Every rise is a testament to your perseverance, a quiet celebration of your inner power, a proof that strength is cultivated in the moments when giving up seems easiest. Falling can feel humiliating, isolating, and unfair. The world may not pause to witness your pain, and others may not understand the weight you carry. But rising transforms pain into purpose. It transforms setback into lesson, loss into insight, and sorrow into determination. Each recovery, no matter how slow or imperfect, builds muscles of endurance and fortitude that cannot be developed in ease or comfort. The act of standing again, brushing off the dust, and taking another step forward is an art, a declaration that your story is still being written and that the pen remains firmly in your hands. The beauty of rising after a fall is that it teaches humility, gratitude, and perspective. You come to understand that life is not a straight path, but a series of peaks and valleys, and that the valleys are as important as the summits. They are the teachers that show you the strength you did not know you had, the compassion you can offer to others, and the resilience that becomes a guiding light through all the storms that may follow. Every rise nurtures self-trust and deepens your understanding that while you cannot always prevent the fall, you can always choose how to meet it, how to learn from it, and how to rise. So, when life knocks you down, do not see it as defeat. See it as an opportunity, a moment to call forth your courage, and a chance to prove to yourself that your spirit is unyielding. Stand even if it is trembling. Step forward even if it is unsure, for it is not the falling that shapes your character, but the rising, again and again and again. Each rise tells the world and your soul that you are unbroken, that your courage is infinite, and that no force, no failure, and no storm can dim the light that burns within you.